Welcome back to the Clubhouse, everybody. It's me, Nick Hausman, joined here as I am usually it's Wednesdays and Fridays. Innes McVey. Innes, welcome back into the Clubhouse.
Thank you, Nick. You've got a wonderful, weird, and new perspective of you that I'm enjoying very much. So that was interesting. Is it just this episode, or are we getting a couple episodes of this?
Dude, I talked a little bit about it on Monday night, but yeah, I've kind of been going through like a mental breakdown here, as you know, for about a week. And when you decide to just completely abandon your routine in hopes of like burning the fields to grow new crops, you'd be shocked. You'd be shocked at the stuff you find time for, and the actual clubhouse here. I'm going to show this off a little bit right now. All right, granted, there are some clothes that are on, but this is my beautiful vintage.
Excellent.
This right there. I'm going to turn this
fantastic.
Over here, we got the couch set up. Another backdrop, but here the real. Creme de la creme. And if you're watching us live on the video stream, you're a Clubhouse member. Thanks for tuning in. This is what it's all about. Over on this side, you can see I have like a coffee.
The dream.
Dude, I have a coffee machine. I have my Jimmy Buffett margarita maker, right?
Fancy.
So I have my coffee mugs next to my Tanqueray margarita mugs, and then right here is my wonderful wife has known for some time how much I really. Oh wait, sorry, this microphone. Can everybody hear me?
We could hear you. Yeah, we could hear you. Don't worry.
Okay, got it. Sorry about that. My beautiful wife, Liz, bought me the mini fridge that I was just showing off over there, which now has my Spindrift. It has my Poppy healthy soda and my yogurt. And my athletic, non-alcoholic IPA. So
excellent.
Yeah.
I've always looked into a mini fridge, but I'm always terrified I'm just never going to leave the room if I do get one. So I don't know.
Well, I'm trying to create an actual clubhouse, right?
We're getting there, slowly but surely.
With that in mind, we have some Clubhouse members watching us live today. Thank you so much for becoming a paid member. We got Christopher Zanto here. Good morning from North California. Another beautiful day in the Clubhouse. Won't you be my neighbor? God bless. God bless, Chris. From Northern California, beautiful wine country.
We're reaching all across the world here.
Oh, my God, yes. Chris is here and everybody else. Thank you for tuning in. And if you're not watching us live, you're watching us after we've recorded in the Clubhouse. Thank you for tuning in on YouTube, podcast platforms, wherever you're at. We're going to have a great show here today. Later on at the end of the show, we'll wrap up. We're going to air my interview with Julius Creed from the WWE Royal Rumble media junket. And then on the show, news-wise, we're actually going to talk about Billy and the CW.
Wow. We're finally getting there. Mind-blowing.
Wow. We're going to talk about Billy and the CW. We got some news about him just this morning. We're going to talk about Shotzi's injury. We're going to talk about this promo The Rock did on Friday night, turning heel. And I didn't know that a great way to turn heel is by just crapping all over the Mormons, but
turns out being a bit of a dick is a good way to be a heel. Shocking that. Be
a dick to the Mormons. You better watch out, Dwayne Johnson, because Mitt Romney, I'm pretty sure king of the Mormons, has actually donned luchador gear and competed in a wrestling match. Did you know that?
I don't think I did. No. Is this a thing? I'm going to have to look this up now.
After this show, go find Mitt Romney Pro Wrestling, a charity event or whatever it was. But that man, you'll see him in the full outfit, and he gets in the little gimmick there. So, man,
does he have any special spots or anything, or is it just, standard little things?
I'd have to go back and watch it because, man, I got to go back and watch it now because I want to say that he did something physically where I was like, oh shit. I will say this looked better in the gear than I thought, and I don't know if that's what I don't.
That's good. At least he fit in. I'll take that.
All right, but we'll get to The Rock versus the Mormons later, and everything else I just talked about. But let's kick it off here. Lead off story today, and look, I've been out of the loop. I thought I'd be coming back to I've missed so much news. Really a lot of updates here and a couple of news items. But this big update here comes from the Cash Wheeler aggravated assault with a firearm situation. Obviously, he was arrested last year. And now he is scheduled for a May 20th trial. The pretrial hearing is going to be on May 7th. He has to attend that. A conviction for aggravated assault with a firearm under Florida law could come up with 5 years of imprisonment, 5 years of probation, a $5,000 fine. And with all of this in mind, he will be on Dynamite tonight, competing alongside Dax Harwood against Jon Moxley and Claudio Castagnoli. Now, we did talk about this not too long ago, but again, it's becoming more of, it's like real. Like it's becoming a thing. How do you feel about this?
It's strange because on one hand, like, I kind of feel like I'm quite surprised AEW haven't really said more about this. But at the same time, I think creatively they have in a way, because really ever since losing the tag titles, they've kind of shied away a little bit from FTR. At least I think so. So I don't, for sure, I don't think like, I mean, they've been on Collision and they've had little feuds, but they've definitely not been as prominent as they had been.
Well, and I do wonder how real Dax and Cash knew this situation could get, right? Because the reports at the time when they dropped the titles to Big Bill and Ricky Starks, if I'm not mistaken, were that it was FTR's idea to do the title drop, right? Yeah, They were the ones that pushed for it, and you know, you're in an interesting space there, right? You would want to believe that I would like to believe that Dax and Cash are being fully transparent with AEW, right, about this whole situation. Now, whether or not AEW, like Tony Khan, obviously very much believes in Cash, right? Whether or not AEW believes this is going to escalate or not could be different than how Cash feels about it. I do wonder if it, like, knowing kind of like how heavy this could get, if Cash made the call to say, hey, maybe I love that you were keeping me on TV and presenting me as a rational, competent adult who is just doing fake fights and certainly not pointing guns at people. But I do wonder if he knew how heavy this was going to get. And that's one of the reasons they pushed to have Big Bill and Ricky Starks take the titles.
For sure, because it's very odd to me that there's been like no acknowledgement from the company or anything about it, other than I think the only time it's really been acknowledged on programming is when the crowd chanted about it at All In. So, I mean, obviously you're not going to like publicly say it on the programming, but you'd think they'd at least have more of a statement than their initial one of they were cooperating with authorities or something. It's strange considering how severe this looks to be.
Well, and, you know, again, like, we'll find out more as time goes on, like what's going into the decision-making process here right now that's going on with Tony. I would be remiss if I didn't point out, like, the financial investment he has in FTR, right? Now, at a time when AEW, like, everybody's talking about AEW's trying to get their groove back, right? AEW's trying to find out what are the things that make us AEW? What are the things that, you know, we need to be rallying around? FTR is so synonymous with AEW, and is absolutely is one of those things that fans tune in for, right?
For sure,
right?
I mean, like there was that big like push from New Japan a couple of years ago when they had FTR all over their shows, and they were huge there as well. So it's not just an AEW thing; New Japan as well.
Yes, exactly. And so, you know, again, for Tony Khan. You know, I'm not going to be nefarious about this, but Tony Khan, you know, trying to protect his investments here, right? Like, he's got a lot of money tied up in some people, it would seem, that, you know, may not be drawing great headlines, but he's having to push through right now, just from a corporate standpoint, based off of what he's investing and what he's getting back from some of these people with the bad headlines. So I do wonder if that's one of the reasons that things are progressing as normal, hoping this all goes away, hoping that there's very minor charges here, and then they can just kind of continue to keep moving, right?
I mean, it's worked technically for them over the last couple of months. I mean, it's been since September. There's really been nothing about it until now. So, possibly, I mean, the severity of it is certainly there, but there's as good a chance that nothing will come of this. So
Yeah, and I had a lot of people early on when this was playing out saying there's a good chance this is going to get tossed for various reasons, like not enough evidence, yada, yada, yada. And again, these aren't lawyers that I was talking to. Well, not all of them, but, you know, even the lawyers were like, hey, you know, this is kind of how it could or could not play out. So yeah, again, most people didn't seem to be very convinced. I do wonder though, if you're a judge, and you're sitting here, I don't really this is going to trial, so I don't think it's a jury trial, is it?
So as far as I know, in the original one of the original documents, he asked for a trial by jury. I don't know if they've gone with that, but he's asked for one.
I didn't see anything in the documents about any
I had a look yesterday, and I'm fairly sure there was something about him asking for a jury. I haven't seen anything like that since.
But I didn't see anything about a jury selection process.
No.
Okay, so there's no timeline for that. So we don't know if it'll be a jury or not. Either way, the point being, knowing the severity and heaviness of what's going on, going out and presenting yourself publicly as if nothing's going on, and trying to create a narrative that this is not as bad of a situation as possible. I don't really know how that plays in the eyes of a judge or a jury,
Yeah. Especially with such a public figure, because you have to take that into consideration, considering, not just in AEW, but, he was in WWE for several years.
Right, exactly. So we'll get back to the Cash Wheeler news here, as I'm sure there's more to come on that. But let's talk about WWE. I did want to talk about The Rock. So I watched the promo segment just this morning to kind of refresh my mind about what was going on with The Rock's big heel promo. Winging it WrestleMania XL, as we've been calling it here.
I like that line. I'm going to use that from now on. That's great.
I like that Roman Reigns, before he brought out The Rock, was like, everything we say is purposeful. Everything we say is leading to something. And then Dwayne Johnson comes out and says, what we had in mind, we changed it.
Did you notice the end? There's a couple of interesting little maybe hints in there that I don't know if you noticed. A couple of people pointed out on social media. The one right at the end, the very obvious one, was when he did the one finger, he put up an L instead, which people maybe suggested it was maybe a hint of him turning on Roman. The other one, which was a bit more obvious, there was a line where he said something along the lines of, "Cody Rhodes, I'm going to make you walk out of WrestleMania as what you are, a loser." And interestingly, as he said he turned and looked at Roman. So a lot of people have suggested that that's maybe a sign that he could be turning on Roman at WrestleMania and setting up Roman Rock at WrestleMania 41.
See, here's the thing about the promo with The Rock. And look, the guy, and they go over this in Young Rock, right? He goes out there and he does cheap heat, right? He goes out there just insults people to get cheap heat. At a time where I really feel like, Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman have talked about how they're trying to make movies and tell these very more advanced stories. For Rock to come out and just kind of South Park it felt a little weird to me. And it felt even odder because I thought, I was like, if you were 15 years younger, this would have played different. Very much felt like dad showing up and trying to be cool and hip. I don't know, man. This is midlife crisis Rock. I don't know what this is.
There's definitely a tonal difference. I didn't feel like it was that at the kickoff show. At the kickoff show, I felt like he was quite serious. But here, there was a little bit of a weird vibe where Roman felt very serious, whereas he kind of felt sometimes like he was like he was playing a character rather than actually acting, which was a little strange.
And I don't think that this. And look, I didn't hate it, but I thought there was a lot here where I was just like, this is just not what I wanted on the road to WrestleMania, where I'm like, it's not bad, but this is a time where Cody is supposed to be shining. This is a time where this guy is going to be, and granted, they're doing big, big numbers right now, right? And The Rock's around, and so, maybe I'm an idiot, but at a time when I think Roman or Cody Rhodes is supposed to be shining, the one to dethrone Roman Reigns and really become your, even bigger monetarily type figure. I thought that The Rock being like, it was supposed to be me and him because we're actual stars, but this guy, this is what you're gonna get now. It's not the building up your opponent in order to make everything feel more special. Kind of the way he's kind of talked about Seth, kind of the way he makes Roman carry his bags. Just kind of feels like he's talking down to everybody, and I don't really dig it personally.
How would you go out changing it then? Would you put more of the focus on Cody rather than Rock?
100%. I think The Rock has already overstayed his welcome. And what are we doing? Are we going to the tag match? I guess we're going to find that out at the Chamber. Is that?
I would guess so. I don't see where else they're going to go with this.
Is anybody clamoring for this tag match?
No, I'm not. Well, the thing is, I don't know where else you can go because I don't think you can do Roman Rock as a singles match anymore. I think you've missed the boat on that.
I think you put Rock in the match somehow, right? Ref,
Yeah.
The tribal enforcer, right, on the outside, making things go down. I mean, you could have the Bloodline and Rock split, before the show and put him in a more neutral position. I just think it just feels so forced, right? They're doing stuff to do it, and the fans aren't really there for it. I mean, it's just not the story I wanted right now going into WrestleMania.
No.
It seems so easy,
Granted, they do have like a month and a half to go, so they've got like 5 or 6 weeks to go, so they've certainly got room to divert and move stuff. But it's a strange direction they've gone.
What do you want to see him do with this?
I want him to lean more into the heel stuff. I would like him to go more into the Hollywood Rock kind of stuff and kind of separate him a bit from Roman. I don't want like the Rock being in the Bloodline because I feel there's a weird contrast between Roman and Rock. I want him to be like a separate entity, so it's more of the three of them feuding with each other rather than Roman and Rock versus Seth and Cody. But I think that is what we're getting, annoyingly.
Dude, all so forced, and especially with the way that look, for better or worse, the Bloodline has tried to make very gradual moves, right? Even with the Sami Zayn stuff they made last 6 months. It was is he in? Is he in? Is he okay? Maybe he's in. Maybe he's okay. He's okay. He's in. He's in. He's riding. He's okay. He's riding. Okay, there's a little tension. Is he out? Is he in? Is he out? He's in. And by the end of it, you've kind of been on this road. This thing is just straight. Right angles up and down,
With the Sammy stuff, they got very, very lucky that they hit the iron and when it got hot, and they got very lucky that people were still into it by that point. With this, I don't know if they're going to have that opportunity and that fortune.
Are they going to do this tag match night too? Right?
I don't think so. Can you have that tag match as the main event of WrestleMania over Cody and Roman? I think that's a disservice to Cody.
Hear me out, okay? Hear me out.
All right.
First night, both the title matches, right?
Okay.
Second night, tag match, all the titles on the line, no matter where they're at.
But I think it's inevitable. You can't have Roman Reigns and The Rock being double world champion. I think there's no. I think from a believability perspective, there's no way they would do that.
The way The Rock, he's on the board at TKO. The way he's positioning this thing, where he's like, title matches are irrelevant. You guys can all whine, bitch, and moan about your title matches all goddamn day. I'm The Rock. I will be in the main event. I will be in the main event of no matter what. I'm the main event. So, which is basically what his characters become.
Yeah. The only other way I could see them maybe doing it is having Rock in Roman's corner, Seth and Cody's for the singles match. Rock turns on him then and helps Seth keep the Bloodline from interfering, which stops the whole usual thing of the interference costing people. But even then, that feels a little cheap.
Very weird. All right. A couple more items we wanted to get to here on the show. Shotzi has confirmed on Instagram that she's going to be out of action for around 9 months following surgery on her ACL. Of course, she got injured last week during the NXT tapings. She was doing a dive to the outside on Lyra Valkyria. So sending our best to Shotzi. It's unfortunate because Shotzi's so beloved, but there are so many women in line right now that are waiting for any opportunity that are so qualified. So it'll be interesting in 9 months to see how the landscape has shifted here. When Shotzi comes back.
I'm quite surprised that they aired it on NXT because they did broadcast the match on NXT and it showed her injury. And they did. Yeah. They were very good in the angle of how they got around it. They got Lash Legends come out to the open challenge and their match was pretty good. So they got around it very, very well. But it's unfortunate. But the thing is, the women's division with WWE has probably been the strongest it's been in years. So the opportunity is certainly there.
As long as Shotzi was fine with it and everybody felt like it was done tastefully, I don't mind it. Especially considering the fact it was a taped episode, it is so hard to get people to watch taped content and have it feel live. And so when you have something like that, where you could be like, whoa, I know this is taped, but how did they handle it? Those can be kind of little silver linings for you if you handle them the right way. So
yeah, for sure.
We also wanted to point out that Ashley Massaro's daughter has distanced herself from the woman that appeared on News Nation last week, purporting herself as a friend of Ashley's. Her daughter is saying that this woman has actually been very terrible to her and the family, misrepresenting who she was. You can go find her comments over on social media. We just wanted to point that out as we talked about it last week on the show. And I would also like to say that I was giving News Nation quite a bit of props. I had even put a standing offer out for their producer to maybe come work for us, but this I'm
rescinding. Didn't hear anything back.
We are we after this. News Nation. How am I giving these people so much credit? You know,
why did we trust them? Why did we even trust them?
I don't know. But what's unfortunate about this is it makes a circus, right? It makes a circus, this situation. I do want to call attention to it since this is Ashley's daughter. But like now we're talking about the credibility of this woman. What did she say? Who is she? And it's just like, your focus goes over to a place where it's not supposed to be right now. It needs to stay on what is really actually being alleged and going on in this moment, right?
Unfortunately, it's just I think it is an inevitability that people are going to try and jump on this because it is going to be a huge story, I think, that's going to develop throughout this year. So it's something that needs to be sifted through, but the focus does need to be put back on the core, which is the allegations.
All right. Before we get to our club housekeeping and Julius Creed, we're going to talk about Billy and the CW.
We're getting there. Finally.
I can't
It's happening.
Man, all the news really did kind of break this morning or the last like 18 hours. Like I could have just
I really did.
I got to stop working. This is great. So they put out a press release this morning basically reconfirming that there is this relationship between the CW and the NWA, pushing people to go to the app to find NWA Power. I guess there might be some other shoulder content that they're putting on the CW app. But they also made this note in the press release saying, additionally, a brand new unscripted, untitled series about Corgan's life, family, role as president of NWA, and his quote-unquote day job will also debut on the CW later this year. It's co-produced by Corgan's own production company, Lightning One Incorporated, and Nacelle Company. It offers an unprecedented vignette into every dimension of his world with unparalleled candor. Now, I wanted to read that word for word because the focus here is on Billy. Yeah, it is not. Absolutely. It is not a let's all go behind the curtain of the NWA. They really want this show to be about like a Billy Corgan reality show, right? You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure. I mean, like the thing is, if they wanted a wrestling show, they have NXT.
Right.
Power is just, the thing attached to this so Corgan would do the deal. Ultimately, if you offer this to a general person of the public, are they gonna want to watch Billy Corgan's wedding, or are they gonna watch NWA? As much as NWA is good, Billy Corgan's wedding is what most people are gonna pick.
Now it says later this year. I didn't read it, but it said later this year this is gonna come out. And I'm interested in that, and I'm gonna have to go back and talk to people and do my job. But like, I'm interested in that because I thought it would be Q1 2024 is when the reality show would be dropping on TV. And I'm also under the impression that the final product has already been submitted to the CW. Now,
right.
What I was, again, as I've reported over and over again, CW's mostly interested in this wedding footage. The Billy Corgan wedding episode is something they can hang their hat on. They wanted something more akin to what we just described here, which is a show about Billy Corgan. I've been told that the product that was delivered to them was far more NWA heavy than I think they were anticipating. So what I'm wondering is there a little more back to the drawing board? And are we going to see more Smashing Pumpkin stuff? Are we going to see more Billy's Tea House kind of stuff? That kind of non-NWA stuff? Because if we get an 80% NWA heavy product when they put it on TV, we'll see. But as it stands, I think that's what I don't know. We'll see where it goes.
I mean, yeah, I was going to ask you because it seems like they have filmed most of the stuff already, so it's odd that it's been delayed for so long. But at the same time,
yeah.
Oh, so you go.
No, but you're right. Yeah, it is. I think it's done. I don't know why they're waiting so long. Yeah.
Yeah, but at the same time, we've seen success of like wrestling-focused reality shows. Total Divas, Total Bellas, and all that. So in theory, maybe it could work in that regard with more NWA focus. But I don't think they're going in that sort of direction for it.
But that AEW whatever Backstage Pass show,
Hmm.
I never even watched it.
Roads to the Top? No, I didn't even watch it either. I don't even know if it was available over here.
Total Bellas and Total Divas worked because it's kind of in that Real Housewives vein of you're going to watch some people get drunk, have fights, and throw wine at each other, right?
Yeah.
If it's about watching Billy sit down with Mike Bucci and lay out how a heel turn is going to go over 3 weeks, I just don't know. I don't know.
I would be interested in that. I just don't think the general population would be.
Hey, Billy's got some, Billy. He faxed some ideas, and I guess we're doing cocaine tonight.
I would pay a lot of money to see how that was pitched to people because my God.
I don't know if anybody noticed this, and maybe as a kind of thumbing their nose at me and others, but they put up a Valentine's Day card on their Twitter that said it was. You go check. It's a real thing. It's Father James Mitchell in like a Valentine's Day kind of framing, and then it says, "I'll blow you away." And
no,
it's like,
they didn't.
That's a real thing.
Oh my God.
I would bring it up onto this, but they will likely flag us and try to have us removed. But yes, that is a real thing.
I mean, I guess if it's an incident that's happened and they got to lean into it, sure, but wow, that's brazen.
And look, if you can do cocaine responsibly and not create problems, I'm not against that.
Sure.
Whatever, but like bad decision making begets bad results, and yikes. So Chris Santo in our chat room, he's hashtag Billy in the CW. Chris, you got it. You got your Billy in the CW here today. All right. Before we throw to Julius Creed, I want to thank Matthew England, our gold member. He joined me Monday night after Raw to talk about Raw. It was great. We did about a half hour
Excellent.
or so. It was really I had a great time with Matthew. I had such a good time.
Was he in England as we thought or no?
Turns out he's from Tennessee, I believe.
Oh, okay. Right. Interesting.
Or Alabama. I think he's Tennessee. I gotta get that right.
Gotcha.
South. And so South. But no, he was great. Very, very, very fun and funny. So we're gonna actually run this back. So we are in the throes of the road to WrestleMania. This Monday night after Raw, Matthew and I will be back. We're going to keep that ClubHaus exclusive. So no podcast feeds, no YouTube. If you want to watch me and Matthew talk about Raw, come join us Monday night after Raw. And on Monday during the day, you can come check Innes and I out here in the ClubHaus because we're going to do a special Monday recording of the Haus of Wrestling Podcast. No Friday episode, scheduling issues. So you'll get us Monday and Wednesday next week. This Friday's episode will be more of an Elimination Chamber preview and predictions. Monday's episode will likely be kind of a review type show with some other news mixed into that. And I will be rolling out more interviews from the Rumble next week. Again, I'm taking some mental health time for myself this week, and I'm doing this show and then the show on Friday, but that'll be about it until Monday. So, Innes, what do you want to plug, promote, put over here before we wrap it up today?
Just my usual social media at Innes_McVey. You can go check it out for occasional wrestling tweets, but mostly video game stuff.
Wonderful. All right, everybody. I'm at Nick_Hausman. Thank you so much for joining us here today. And to wrap up our Wednesday episode, here he is, Julius Creed.
Stole the glasses too.
Yeah, they gave me the glasses for the record. I didn't steal them.
Oh, okay, cool. Cause I stole 3 pair.
Oh, okay. Hey, you do you. They gave them to me though.
That's like a thing I do at street festivals. They take one of every color.
You probably got quite the collection then.
I match them with my clothes.
That's stylish. I respect that. My shoes don't match my clothes, but I like it that way. I like a little bit of contrast instead.
For those that can't see right now, Julius is wearing bright blue shoes. You can get it up. You're a pro wrestler.
There you go. I'm not the most flexible, but I gave it a shot for you.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Nick Hausman here, Haus of Wrestling, live at the Royal Rumble. We just kind of rolled all into it there. I am joined, of course, right now by Julius Creed. Julius, man, you are a breakout star right now. I know that you and your brother are already making waves on the main roster, but a lot of people, kind of like Montez Ford, see you as somebody down the road that could be a huge singles breakout star in the WWE. How do you feel when you hear things like that?
I think, singles competition super interesting. We competed in amateur wrestling from the time that we were 3 years old until we were 25. So for 22 years, we got the opportunity to be out there and be the focal point and have our brother cheering for us or coaching for us out of the corner. So it's been a really, really fun opportunity and experience to get to share the competition circle with them and to get to work with them. I look at my brother as one of the very best guys, not only on Raw, not only when we were in NXT, but in the entire business as a whole. And I'm sure he's going to have a lot of success when that time comes. I think I'm going to have a lot of success when that time comes. But for now, we're really enjoying getting to share that experience together. And then when we've accomplished everything there is to accomplish, maybe we'll explore that as an individual realm. But right now, there's a lot more in tag team action to accomplish.
I was about to say, man, I know I'm putting the cart before the horse. You guys literally just showed up on the main roster. You're already going for the WWE tag team titles. First of all, how does it feel to be pushed into a slot like that where you're already in the tag team main event picture?
Yeah, I think we've earned it. We've earned it through a lifetime of work. We didn't necessarily come up on the indies like a lot of people, but like I said, from the time we were 6 weeks old, we were sleeping on a wrestling mat. Every single decision in our lives have been made to be the best version of ourselves. College wrestling's no joke, and we went through that grind. I went through the international grind, the Olympic grind, the world level grind, and all those things coming together in culmination has kind of prepared us for this moment. And, he's gotten his moment where he got to run and jump in his coach's arms, and they're crying and they're happy. I've had my moments in my lifetime, but we've never got to share that moment together. So that'll be a real fun thing to share when that moment comes, and we're looking forward to that.
You talk about your amateur background. You guys got a chance to go through NXT, really learn that WWE style down there. What was the most difficult part for you of learning how to be a pro wrestler as opposed to being an amateur wrestler?
Man, that's a good question. I think in college wrestling, there's right and wrong, and there is things that score points and things that don't score points. And in the professional wrestling world, there isn't necessarily right and wrong. There's right and more right. There's right and less right, but there's no right and wrong for the most part. So it's trusting your gut instinct when you have a feel for something, being willing to try, being willing to fail, and being willing to try to make something work is probably the biggest difference. It's just a different world. It truly is. You had a coach tell you, hey, that's not going to work or that is going to work. Where then in NXT, it was like, that might work, give it a shot. And you got to be willing to say, yeah, I do think this is going to work, or I don't think this is going to work, or this is going to work. And then you go out there and you try it, and no, that's not going to work. And that's probably the biggest difference. And it's a fun challenge, though. It's a really fun challenge.
So talk to me a little bit about the move to the main roster. Did you see it coming? Did you think that after you got called up to work on Raw that you'd be staying on Raw? Like, how has this transition been for you?
Man, when I first talked to my brother about coming down here, I had signed my contract. I tried out a while ago, and I said, give me 3 years. Give me 3 years, and I will get us to the main roster. I didn't realize how much he was going to have to do his part. I literally thought I could throw him on my back and carry him up here. But he grew as a performer. He's grown as a person. I'm so proud of the person he is today, and he's definitely carried his weight and then some to get us up there. Naively, we thought we were ready right out of the jump. We thought it was going to happen. You always have these dreams of grandeur where, man, we've been brothers for 20-something years. We're going to be great at this. We're going to win the tag titles within a week. We're going to be the face of this. We're going to take over the world. And then when it doesn't come right away, you start questioning yourself. Then you got to reinvent yourself. You got to grow. You got to get better. And that cycle started repeating. And finally, I just talked to Shawn Michaels. I'm like, man, what do we got to do? He said, just keep focused on yourself. Focused on you guys as performers, as individuals, as talent, and continue to shore up all the holes in your game. And then when that moment comes, you'll be able to seize that moment. And Chad Gable threw out the open challenge for Alpha Academy, and that was the window we needed. We climbed through that window, and we took over the house. So it was not expected, but it was much needed and much appreciated.
Well, all right, last question here. You talk about Alpha Academy. You got Street Profits out there. You guys. I think it's like 16 credible tag teams right now in the WWE tag team division. Pretty flush, but only one set of tag team titles. Now, would you like to see the Raw and SmackDown titles split, or do you like the idea of having unified WWE tag team titles?
I don't think it matters. As long as we've got them, it doesn't matter. So I guess the answer is the Creed brothers want them. Other than that, it doesn't matter who's got them. It doesn't matter if they're together, if they're separate. Creed brothers want them.
Awesome. Julius, thank you so much.